Welcome to Second Take. I'm your host Jay. Independence Day resurgence happens exactly 20 years later in our real life situation and in their movie situation. Independence Day resurgence felt like it had so much potential, it had so much that it could have done, but it didn't, and it chose to do something that, without spoiling the movie for you, just wasn't the right move. It didn't feel like the right thing to do. It almost was just solely to set up the next installment in the Independence Day franchise, which now we have to call it a franchise because it's going to be a three-parter. I'm certain of it. The director, Roland Emmerich, has made it his duty to make sure that the third movie gets made, and I'm very interested to see where they go with it. If you watch the end of the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that in a way they're going to fight again. That's as much as I'll say. But this movie entirely was a copy and paste. It was just an updated version of the original movie. Alright, let's talk about the characters. We've got returning actors: Vivica Fox, Bill Pullman, Brent Spiner, Jeff Goldblum, Judd Hirsch, and more. But in a lot of ways, without spoiling anything, some of these characters were just played off as plot points and not really useful in the long term of the film. I didn't like that some of them showed up for a couple minutes and then left. I didn't like that some of them showed up just solely to be motivation for another character to do something. That felt kind of cheap to me. It was almost like every character had to have a cameo, which I appreciated because I know that's hard for a director to drag actors back to do a sequel 2 decades later. I mean, Will Smith didn't want to come back for the sole reason that he wanted his real-life son Jaden Smith to be in the movie as Captain Hiller's son, but Roland Emmerich didn't want that, so Will Smith didn't return. But if I'm being honest, I kind of appreciated that Will Smith wasn't in this movie. I didn't like that they glorified him so much, but I'm kind of happy that he wasn't, because he would have just stolen the show. It would have been a Will Smith movie. It would have been like Men in Black Part 3. It would have just kind of focused on him, and he would have been the center of all the attention, and everybody else would have kind of been pushed off to the side. So I'm glad that these characters got to have their own story without him. Now let's talk about the newcomers, the next generation of Independence Day. We have Liam Hemsworth, Jesse T. Usher, Micah Monroe, and Angela Baby coming in as the next generation of pilots that have all been trained for just this scenario, the aliens coming back. So this next generation of pilots, you never fully connect with them. You understand their connection to each other throughout the film, and you realize that there's tensions and that romance is built up and all these characters are interwoven together. But in all honesty, you don't care for them as much as you cared about Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum's characters in the first movie. Independence Day Resurgence was just about half as good as it could have been. Given that the original was such a cult classic in the sense that it did what people didn't think was possible with explosions and with aliens and all these new cool special effects, all done with miniature scale concepts, and 20 years later Roland Emmerich is doing the exact same things and the special effects aren't 20 years more spectacular. That's the only way that I can put it. In terms of excitement and special effects, in all honesty, it was a little underwhelming. It was a very cool movie on its own, but compared to the original, it just doesn't suffice. It's not as good. It's not a good follow-up. I don't know if we're gonna see a part 3. Another thing that really bothered me in this movie is that there was a scene that clearly should have resulted in a kiss, and it didn't. And I don't know why it didn't, because I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but there are 2 characters in the movie who are gay. They have a very interesting work romantic life, and in the end, I'm not going to tell you who, but one of them dies, and there's no kiss. He died, and he loved him, so why didn't he kiss him, right? It frustrated me actually, because I was thinking, like, why wouldn't a homosexual director have a homosexual kiss in his own movie? It didn't make any sense. Anyways guys, what did you think of Independence Day Resurgence? Post a comment below and let me know. And as always guys, thank you for watching. If you want to see more content like this, check out my channel for more movie reviews and news, and also reaction videos. Catch you later.